of government departments are given the dicta that you have to procure from self-help groups. But that is really a very narrow focused area. So Poonam, over to you, and we would like to hear from you. Poonam has a presentation, so you want to go down and use the podium?
Yes, I'll be standing, and thank you for this opportunity, Ananya. I'm very happy to be here. As Ananya said, supplier diversity and inclusion is not so much talked about in this part of the world, and WorkMeetConnect International is an organization that was promoted by corporates and government and the US state government backed by that in 2009 to promote supplier diversity and inclusion and gender responsive procurement in other parts of the world. So women's economic empowerment through enterprise development is becoming a major strategy, for achieving regional and national growth. Of course, access to markets remains the biggest challenge, as we've all seen, and it could be a number of reasons: the business size, the disadvantaged positions within the value chains, and the prevailing gender inequalities, networking issues, and skilling issues. Local and global corporations, however, are increasing their efforts towards becoming more gender inclusive, and procurement is a very critical part of their plan. WorkMeetConnect International brings to you a platform to connect with, for women-owned businesses, to connect with corporations who are our members. So on a path of building sustainable prosperity together, let me take you through this presentation very quickly so that we can, leave some time for some questions. So this is something which we have heard even yesterday, a lot of it. Women are 85% influencers for consumer purchasing decisions. Women make 50% of the population, mostly everywhere. But what we, what I'd like to, bring your attention to is that 1 out of every 3 privately owned businesses, that is 33% of all privately owned businesses, are owned by women. And yet, this is World Bank statistics, yet women-owned businesses earn less than 1% of corporate and government spend. And that really makes me super angry, So that is the needle, and WorkMeetConnect International with its initiatives is trying to, take that needle up as much as it can. And we firmly believe that trade, and buying from women-owned businesses is the key to equality and sustainable growth and sustainable prosperity. Trade is a powerful tool to achieving gender equality. And as ma'am had said yesterday, money is very important, and money into the hands of women comes through trade and equitable marketplace. So we bring in the gender perspective into the supply and value chains. But before going there, I'd just like to take a moment to, share with you the concept of supplier diversity and inclusion. It is a word which may be new to some of you. So basically, supplier diversity and inclusion is a proactive activity. It's a conscious activity by buying organizations to ensure that historically underutilized suppliers, such as women-owned businesses, others could be LGBTQ in some areas, army personnel and others, the suppliers should have a fair and equal opportunity to compete in the supply chains. And when we talk of a diverse supplier, a global definition is that an organization which is 51% owned, controlled and managed by the underutilized group. So you'd be seeing even in the GEM portal of the Government of India and in the MSC, there's a women's section where women go and upload some documents. But that is only on paper, but a lot of us know. So what we look for is 51% owned, managed and controlled by the women. And with having said that, WorkMeetConnect International works with the mission of driving more money to the hands of women, enabling them to compete in marketplace, and basically with a vision of a world where men and women get equal opportunities to compete in supply chains. Today we have about 17,000 women-owned businesses in our network globally. We operate in 130 countries, and we have a corporate member base of 180 members who have an annual purchasing power of $3 trillion. And imagine a 2% of this if they can dedicate to women-owned businesses, that's a huge amount in any case. But having said that, supplier diversity and inclusion is not like a doing good. They are not doing any favors. It is a business case, and that is what we promote. It's a business case because when they buy from women-owned businesses, they mirror their customers, they kind of, connect with the communities. There's reduced procurement costs, there's increased competition, innovation, competitive advantage. Women are known to multitask, innovate, and corporates increasingly access knowledge networks and connect with communities. Their staff feels proud that they are buying from women-owned businesses. It is a retention strategy as well. And of course, if most of you have heard that businesses today, especially in this part of the world and globally, have a responsible business reporting framework, an ESG framework, and where they have to report their spends, and spends done through their diversity, supplier diversity and inclusion funds get reported into these funds, and this is what we are trying to leverage. So we assess the capacities of women, and I've met so many women entrepreneurs and told them to come and connect in the network. But also we've talked about certification today, skills, as in the last session. So We Connect International certifies, offers the solutions to certify a business being women-owned. And that is what large global multinational corporations are also looking for, because it's a risk assurance for them. Because they will not be able to go to every single vendor to kind of, see whether they are women-owned or not. So that is what we do. Of course, a whole lot of education and capacity building programs, such as we've all spoken about in the last, sessions, not only for women entrepreneurs, but also for the corporates. Because corporates need to get sensitized on these issues, that how buying from women-owned businesses is a business case and a business strategy. So a lot of sensitization is taking place at that level as well. And finally, we break down the barriers to connect women-owned businesses to companies who are seeking to buy from women-owned businesses but have no clue where to find them, how to get them into their supply chains. And that is where we, target our interventions. We connect them through matchmaking events and meet the member events, wherein a member gives us, a corporate member will give us a few criteria, and we'll kind of look into our database, which is a tech-enabled tool, and we'll connect them to these fantastic women-owned businesses in our network. As I said, certification, the logo is given, which is a women-owned logo, and that can go on all their collaterals, their product packaging, and brings value to the women-owned business. These are just few of the 180 corporate members we have in our, and the latest being Zomato. Zomato has just joined us in India, and you can see all the names: Google, Goldman Sachs, Deloitte, and I mean there's so many here. And we network with these companies and bring women-owned businesses to a platform to connect them and make their pitches to these organizations. As I said, we use our basic tool is our SAP Ariba portal, and I've met so many entrepreneurs and told them to register on this, which is like a silent pitch. SAP gave us very recently the award for innovations for using technology in collaborating with women-owned businesses. And these are just some of the boot camps and capacity building programs we run. We just heard in the last session that corporates are getting involved in training and as per the need of what they feel should be. So we collaborate with our corporate members and definitely run. So right now, as I speak, simultaneously the last of the Moody's boot camp is going on virtually, which was on financing your growing business. Today is the last session on enterprise development, which is happening, and I think one of our entrepreneurs is here who's missing the session along with me. Coming up is the APEC conference, which will be a hybrid in Bangalore. Intel has been very kind to offer us their facilities, so it is going to be in their offices, and there'll be matchmaking there as well. We have monthly learning meetings, and I welcome you all to attend those. And coming up is an advanced training for certified women business very soon. And of course, this is women entrepreneurs are across the industries, across verticals. These are just few I picked up: technology, enterprise services, e-waste management, gifting, and logistics and transport. And they've all started with WeConnect their journey at a very, very small scale level. And they all took at least 2 years to get onboarded, because corporates have a very comprehensive process to onboard a vendor. It is not that you today join WeConnect and tomorrow we are going to bring you in front of a corporate and you are there. No, it's not going to be like that. It's a journey, and a lot of times corporate do a lot of mentorship. They meet, like Marriott International meets vendors, mentors them, sends them back, gets them back, and probably takes 18 months for a vendor to at least get onboarded to any large corporate because of their requirements. Any questions, any thoughts, any comments?
I'll ask a question.
Please.
That is, I know it is a South Asia initiative,
Yes.
and we have Bangladesh, Nepal here. So if you could share something about what is happening and whether there are contacts in those countries, or is it you who was the contact?
Yeah, so for South Asia, we have a major intervention in Bangladesh, and we have almost, I think, a number of women. I think there are about 2,000 women-owned businesses in the network, and we have a team member in Bangladesh who looks into the intervention. We have our South Asia director who sits in Sri Lanka and manages that market, along with another market lead. I focus on India, but obviously, since India and Nepal are, just we look into that, we are increasingly wanting to expand to Nepal, the intervention, in a more strategic way, and I'll definitely connect with you, Neha, on that. So, yeah.
So I request you to take a seat, and we'll
Sure.
take all the questions at the end.
Yeah, all right. Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, this presentation is about supply chain and how it can improve your businesses. So it's not any gender specific. Just before I start about what is supply chain management, so I'll just give you a brief about the Association of Supply Chain Professionals, ASCP, which I represent. ASCP is India's first and the biggest association for supply chain and logistics professionals. So, like people from the academia, students, professionals, consultants, from the private sector, from the public sector. Anybody who's interested in supply chain, logistics, or doing businesses in these areas, or having their own businesses. But of course, supply chain is important for any business. We are part of this association. So if anyone of you is interested, you can go to our website, www.ascp.co.in, and you will get all the information about our association. So you all know about what is supply chain management, I guess. So of course there are definitions of it. If you Google, there would be probably more than 100,000 definitions of supply chain management. But just to explain on layman terms, it's all about farm to fork. The entire journey of a product from its inception to the table the entire thing is all about supply chain. And like the definition goes, supply chain management is the management of the flow of goods and services, just not goods, but the services also, and includes all the processes that converts raw materials into final products for reaching out to the end customer. Examples of supply chain activities includes farming, refining, design, manufacturing, demand planning, sales and operations planning, packaging, transportation, and customer service. So I'm going to be emphasizing on customer service today, so that's why I underlined that part. Because customer service is also part of supply chain, and most of you are entrepreneurs here, and I'm sure you are focusing on the customer service part. Mainly. So in this day and age, efficient supply chain management is important because it increases competitiveness, responsiveness, and thereby customer satisfaction by reaching goods and services with quality and affordability. So let's go to the next one. So exceptional customer experience requires a first-rate supply chain. Now today we know the entire geopolitical situation has changed. So we are globally competing with each other. It's not just competing within the country. So we need to have a first-rate supply chain. So supply chain includes also the look and feel. Today we have this modern retail everywhere. It's not not the pop and mom and pop kind of stores. So we have that. So customers go to the stores, they feel the product. Even if there is a slight damage in the carton, probably the product is good. But if the look and feel is not good, customers can reject the product. So everything has to be emphasized on. So I've just jotted down a few points. Design and marketing. How? Basically understanding the customer's needs, market research, competitive analysis, data from products, use of artificial intelligence. And there is no point of having a seamless order experience if the supply chain processes are not designed to deliver on the promise. So timing is very important. So it's so if you promise something, and I'm talking about what is happening globally, not in India. So if you are promising something, please make sure it happens on time. Perhaps not before time, which we spoke about yesterday. And you know, a lot of in airlines, particularly here in India, pilot announces that we have arrived before time, 30 minutes before time. But the air controller is not giving us space. Actually, air controller is doing his job. He is not supposed to give it because there are other flights which have been scheduled in that particular time. A lot of time we say the train has arrived. This train is very good. Train has arrived before time. But Howrah station, so of course you have to get down in Chitralekha because you have arrived before time. You should not be arriving before time. You should be arriving on time. I think we have come a long way. It's the new age today. So we are arriving before time. But that's not how it should be. It should be on time everywhere. In every businesses also. So please make sure your orders, if you are promising something to the customer, keep some buffer time. If you are ordering something, if you are doing this, keep your promise on the time part. So that's very important in today's businesses. Of course, you all know about omni-channel sales and logistics strategy. I'm not emphasizing on that here. It's just 15 minutes. The last mile delivery is very important. Services and subscription-based model is there because these days it's all about nobody wants to keep inventory. It's about the amount of order which you get and supply. So exceptional customer experience is directly linked to great delivery experience also. The wow moment has to be there with every customer, improving customer experience by reducing the supply chain cost. So while, of course, India is a very cost, it all depends on the cost part. But then if you are adding a lot of value-added services on your services or your products, the cost will go up, certainly go up. But then that's how it is. Either you want to compete globally or locally, you have to decide. So first-rate service experience aligning with the ambassadors. Of course, you need to have good customer service. First-rate product quality experience. Companies and supply chain aligning with customer values, environment, diversity, labor practices, ethics. One of the things which I always talk about is about jugaad, not the benefits of jugaad. I always talk about how to shed the jugaad concept. In India, a lot of us take pride that we did jugaad. Right? There are books. Some people call themselves a jugaad king. Like they take pride that we did this jugaad. If one has to compete globally.
For benefit of Anish and Kimberly, if you can explain what is jugaad.
Jugaad is getting things done. Somehow getting things done. And there are books on it. People take pride that we have got the things done. But yes, it is good, but you have to distinguish where it is good. It is good when it comes to innovation. Right. But when it comes to services, jugaad is not good. So you have to. So it's not that किसी तरह से हमने अपना माल सामान भेज दिया. So it cannot be like that. Then actually you are missing the customer service part. Somewhere you are doing skipping some steps, which should not be, or compromising on the quality of your service. So, Jugaad is very good when it comes to innovating some product or manufacturing thing. And then of course doing a mass manufacturing. But then when it comes to services, let's shed the habit of Jugaad. I think I'm the only one who talks about shedding the habit of Jugaad, but in supply chain, and this is something which we talk about in supply chain, and this is the change which we want to bring in supply chain, that in supply chain logistics services, please don't use Jugaad. Have a process and follow the process. And actually, if you follow the process, you will actually have a great customer experience, customer service, and you don't have to skip any steps. You have to have a process. Okay, so of course, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. Like I said, the geopolitical situation is changing. India is into Quad, Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, which is IPEF framework. There are 14 countries in this, and of course in this framework there is supply chain, clean economy, and fair economy, and trade, of course. So yes, this is something which I wanted to talk about. How many of you have, okay, the format has actually changed here from my computer to this presentation. So the word is omotonashi, the I should be there. Now how many of you, it's a Japanese word, how many of you have heard about this? Okay, no one. That's expected. If you say yes, it's a little unexpected. So, omotonashi means hospitality plus mindfulness, to wholeheartedly look after the guests. Basically, in easy terms, it is anticipating the needs of your customer. So, in every day-to-day life, or in your actions, or in your businesses, or in your supply chain, if you implement this concept of omotonashi, because all your customers are not the same, they are different, they have their different needs, expectations and all. If you want to have loyal customers, if you want to have repeat customers, and if you add this element of omotonashi, anticipating their needs, and give them slightly something extra, I think that will build up your business. So this is something, this concept is there in Japan, and in Japan it is in their day-to-day lives. It's very different. When we go to such countries, Japan, Western countries and all, we see the technology part. But it's just not about the technology. How they conduct themselves in their day-to-day life, how they use the technology is also to be seen, also to be learned. Cultures are different. Not everything can be implemented here, but we can pick up the good things and implement it here. And if we have to compete globally, these things have to be implemented. So this is something which we want to bring into the supply chains in India. And I usually talk about Sakura supply chain is one term which I have introduced in India. Basically how we can imbibe all these good practices. Like for example, I'm sure everybody has heard about 3 R's. Reuse, reduce, recycle.
Yeah.
So I think these things, but if you go to our warehouses and posters are there, reduce, reuse, recycle, nothing happens. But those practices are displayed. But we have to do that in our daily lives. How many of you segregate garbages in your house? Very good. Very good. Great. So these are the things, but segregating scientifically, and then also seeing that the value stream is also happening. Right? So we have to do it. Save energy, put it at an optimum temperature, 24 to 25. People put it at 24, 25. There is no written rule, or there is no dictum. It's just that a request, and everybody follows that. So save energy. So that is one thing. Yes. Yeah. So I spoke about this, the spirit of omotonashi, and I think that is something which is in hospitality, but we should actually imbibe that in our supply chains, in our customer service. So it's all about customer, not about customer satisfaction. That is a given. Customer satisfaction, you will send the goods to a customer will get it, he will get it in the right condition. That is a very given thing. That is expected. But it has to be beyond that. It has to be customer delight. So that is something which we should target. If we have to compete globally today, we have to ensure that we delight the customer. So that can happen if you imbibe this concept of omotenashi. This is something which I have already explained. So my take on supply chain and customer experience. Customer experience is more important factor than lowering operational costs. 5 first-rate exceptional services can give the wow experience. Bespoke direct design and marketing experience, first-rate order experience, first-rate delivery experience, first-rate service experience, and first-rate product quality experience. So everything should be first-rate, of course, and that's how we can excel. And I'm again repeating, adapt to the spirit of omotenashi. You can just go through the concept of omotenashi more, Google about it, but please imbibe this. It will help you in your businesses, it will help you in your day-to-day lives. Okay, so any one of you who's interested in supply chain logistics, so we have, so like I said, we have this association, we have now an office in Kolkata, we have established an office in the eastern region, and we have our biggest conference in the eastern region in Kolkata next month on the 16th of June, and we are going to talk about environmental sustainability through supply chain. So of course sustainability can be people, planet, profit, so we can't talk about people, planet, profit in the same day. So we have chosen planet, which is environmental sustainability through supply chains. Again, we will be talking about supply chain to responsible chain. How we have to transfer supply chain and make it responsible chain. So anybody interested can register for the conference and come for the conference. So this is all about what I wanted to say.
Anshuman, you skipped that slide on the Asia Pacific platform. I'll say take 2 minutes to speak about it also. Yes. Because we are talking about the regional network.
Yeah, this one. So we all know that India is now part of Quad, which is the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. It's more about supply chains, but from the security security part in this region. And then we have the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, which also India is part of, this 14-country platform, wherein the platform is structured around 4 pillars related to trade, that is pillar 1. There are 4 pillars to this platform: supply chains, clean economy, and fair economy. So actually it's a little bit different than what I wanted to speak about in today's concept about supply chain, how it can benefit the businesses. So, but this is what I wanted to talk about, that geopolitical situations are changing today. So now India is the biggest market. People are looking at India, and all these things are very much sellable outside India, within India. It's a huge domestic market. So it's just that every country is looking at India for today for businesses. So I think we should take this advantage. We are growing, and let's imbibe all these good practices, and I think we can compete globally. And we are anyways competing globally, but we need to certainly improve on our customer service, customer satisfaction, on the product design, on the packaging part. These are the areas which we should focus on. So this is it. If there are any questions, I can take it.
Do you do any capacity building also?
Like training. The association does have this capacity building kind of workshops. In 2000, just before COVID, we had this for drivers training kind of thing, but then we haven't done it lately. But perhaps by next year we'll have some courses for supply chain, introduction to supply chain management.
And this is international, right? The network.
This association is homegrown. This is in India for Indians. Of course, anybody can join. We have members from outside India also. Yeah. Fine. So if there are questions, I can provide.
So at the end, I'll take questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. The way we have designed this session is that we introduce these 2 concepts, right? One is supplier diversity, and the other, we know about it, about being responsible in business, but we wanted to highlight. Now we have with us entrepreneurs, and we have networks. And my question to all of you is that, first to the entrepreneurs, that in your business, are you addressing these concepts? And what are some of the other supply chain issues where you would like to highlight? So here it need not be a gendered perspective, but it is more of a business perspective. Because as we discussed that, supply chain is not, we can do a positive discrimination, but I think a man running a business and a woman running a business will perhaps face similar problems. But I might be wrong, so please do say if you as a woman have faced any problem. So I'll start with Shaleni. So Shaleni, you also want to talk from the podium.
I've done a little bit of writing for myself to make sure that I don't miss out any points. So, good morning. Yesterday we were here, so there are new ladies who joined us. I welcome you here to this platform. So, the process of procurement is crucial for any organization to operate effectively and efficiently to ensure one's presence in the market at the right time and with the right pricing. This has helped my business to look beyond tactical order fulfillment and gain a better understanding for future consumer needs. Analyzing and streamlining is a learning process, not just for improving product deliveries today, but also for improving customer service in the future. I come from the industry of stationery, print and packaging. It is my pleasure today to share the challenges that we have faced and we have been able to overcome regarding supply chain and the importance of supply diversity. Easy Note Stationery Private Limited is a company that manufactures stationery with a retail brand called Class Note. We also manufacture packaging and cater to the hospitality, medical, corporate, aviation and tea industry to name a few. In reference to manufacturing and stationery, manufacturing and supplying of stationery and packaging, we have learned over the years the importance of procurement and how this has impacted our business success. In recent years, the global supply chain has become increasingly complex and vulnerable to disruption. The COVID-19 was a shocker for all industries, and it has taught us the importance of effective planning and prompt execution. And the stationery, print and packaging industry was no exception. Since the markets closed and we had enough resources, we actually started our packaging unit right in the middle of COVID. So I think to think ahead and to think prompt and to think with what the time and the need of the time is very important in any industry. In today's competitive market, a clear understanding of sourcing material to delivering finished products to our customers is crucial. This industry plays an important role in global economy, providing essential products and services to businesses and consumers around the world. As you said, it is not only production but also the service that we provide, not only the end result of manufacturing the product. However, we have also been facing challenges such as rising of cost, increasing competition and changing customer preferences. We have realized with our experience a way to address these challenges are to add multiple suppliers to reduce our cost, minimize our inventories and increase overall efficiency. This reduces the risk of supply disruption and has ensured smooth deliveries of products and mitigate risk in our production plan, such as natural disaster, labor strikes or geopolitical incidents. This gives us an opportunity to compete with larger established suppliers, help us to promote economic development in underserved communities. This also significantly makes a difference and differentiates our product and services from others in the industry and stay ahead of the competition and build a more resilient business, leading to greater economic growth, job creation and social equality. We do look for opportunities to work with small and medium-sized businesses, minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses. These businesses can and always bring a fresh perspective to our supply chain and help us create a more inclusive and equitable industry. At EasyNote, we firmly believe that diversity, equality and inclusion are important to position our business for long-term success. So what we have done is all the points which Poonam and Anshuman have mentioned, we have tried to incorporate majority of all those points because in today's time and after COVID, we have realized that one must think ahead of time and prompt thinking in any industry because COVID was not told to us, it came unannounced. And that is when a lot of industries shut down because they were not prepared, the planning properly was not done, financing was not in order. So I feel if one looks into all these aspects, we stand, our future looks bright and we stand in success. Thank you.
So that is also important for Umothanashia, right? So our next speaker is Chitralekha. Chitralekha also wants to go down and speak.
Yes, that's fine.
So please introduce your business and reflect on the discussion.
Sure. I was not supposed to present a slide, but I always think that if you have a visual running, it's easier to understand what you're talking about. So, I'm Chitralekha, and fortunately enough, while I was hearing both of you, I think I can address two of the points today, which is both planet and people. There happens to be a time when you run a business or you're doing your bit, you're being economically independent, you're doing what you wanted to do. There comes a time when you find that you need to get a purpose. Maybe once you're economically stable, your income is stable, you don't have to worry about the day-to-day operations. You need to find purpose. As a designer, my purpose was to bring rural artists of Bengal and all over India, but predominantly Bengal, to the forefront of the design world. I faced a huge issue with access and logistics. Speaking about yeah. This is the old one. Yeah. So what happened is while I tried to bring in uniqueness into the design, I started to go to, back to our roots, back to terracotta, back to Motochitro, back to rattan, back to Madur, everything sustainable that I wanted to bring in to our designs. But the hugest issue was the supply chain. Unlike the portal or the podium that you are providing to all of us here who have the luxury to be present here, who have the luxury to access internet, who have the luxury to know there is help available, I was trying to reach out to people who are just not accessible. And I must mention an organization called BanglaNatok.com, which really helped me get access to these people. So I'll tell you a little story. I don't want to take too much time. So I went to the terracotta village. I don't know if you know about Vishnupur, the terracotta gram. So there are about 500 families there who are all doing terracotta work. I'll show you what is terracotta. So that, it is made out of kilt. So she's actually putting the raw, the earth, basically the mud in the kilt, and then creating tiles. And those go on walls, or it could be very, very rural art form of India from Vishupur. So I spent time there. I was there for 2 days. I'll tell you a little example. So the first hut that we walk into, there was a small little guy who takes us in, and there is this lady sitting there, and she was actually the lady that you see in the image here. And she was actually creating with her own hands. They had this pattern which she was creating. And she spoke to me at length, very passionately, about how it is created, how terracotta is, in the, what is the process of creating it and everything. But as soon as I spoke to her about procuring it, so how do I have this duplex I'm building in Bangalore, I'm designing, and I want the whole, the double height length to have terracotta. And she said in Bangla, Ami amar borke dike dicchi. So I'll call my husband. As soon as there was, there was any discussion about procurement, finance, things that will give her the identity as the seller, she actually looked out for her husband. Similarly, for everything from Potachitro cars to Katha artists, the main artist, the main designer, the main manufacturer is the woman. But the one you want to speak to, or the one you have to speak to procure and talk about financing, talk about the business part of it, is either the husband or the middleman, who is obviously put in at least 30% of a margin there. By the time it reaches the market, it has become so expensive that a very small, simple, organic product has become exquisite and unique. And it is probably being shipped across to other states and continents, which is reducing the demand because it's increasing the price. So because the demand is going down, they are producing less and the exposure is even lesser. So these are the issues that I really faced, and unlike you, they have banglatanto.com, but I think it's very difficult for us to bring out these artists. So I am actually confused because I want to do more work with them. I want to bring out, because they don't have an identity. I do have a success story though, a small little one, which is Fatima. So she traveled to Paris with her also I came to know through banglatanto.com. She actually traveled to Paris with a set of her artisans, and they did a show there. But that is a very unique case. So I don't know if there is any way that you could bring in a subsidiary of some kind wherein we could reach out to, I am absolutely there if I could help in any way, reach out to the, the rural and the actual artists who do not have access to these helpful measures that you have brought up. That's all I'm interested in.
Thank you. And you have spoke to you as a member of parliament. Today I'm speaking to you as an entrepreneur. So we would like to hear from you your reflections on what are two case studies presented and any other challenges you would like to discuss.
Thank you so much. I'm a very grassroots entrepreneur. So we connect and notes out of my head. And actually, I don't want to criticize, but when you're dealing with the woman entrepreneur, and we saw the exhibits, the product also. How much they can help, I have a question, right? So either they have to, take the leather down to support them, or they have to rise. Then the matchmaking will happen. But one of the important of access to market, or if I would like to do my product, is that yesterday I said don't fall in love with the product. You need to have a marketing. And one of the things which now it's important that we have women entrepreneurs who are crafts artisan, but we also have very smart women who are coming to entrepreneurship, which are highly educated, knowing all the digital access. So these connection is very important. Well, everyone can't play all roles. For women entrepreneurs, I think these also very important that, okay, I am a producer or I am an artisan, so I'll stop here myself. And the other one, okay, I'm not a producer, but I'll buy and sell the product. This sort of connectivity is very important. I think we connect, if you can work on it, connecting one entrepreneur to another entrepreneur, that will really help our type of small or micro entrepreneur to grow. Because when this smart girl or woman who is educated, who knows digital, can communicate with the artisan or the little small entrepreneur, that small entrepreneurs with the process she will also learn. She will be also smarter. So ultimately, market access is very important because to increase your product, to sell in larger volume, to ultimately to make profit. And one of the things also which we face is that we don't know about the rules, the GSP, the quota, the duty access, HS code. Now how many women entrepreneurs, see, even the producer, tell them what is the HS code of your product. They can't say. Now I have participated in, I think, trade fair all over the world. I was a manufacturer of the first artificial silk flower industry in Bangladesh. So like the Singaporean job. So I have seen that the export market is so difficult. I participated in all the trade fair of the world. But with the European customer, with the Western customer, the whole thing is very different. And with the Indian, I used to export to India also. But that tariff barriers was there with India and Bangladesh. And then we had to withdraw that thing. So the duty structure within the countries are important. We had all of these things, but actually it doesn't happen. And then in the border also, when we are exporting from, even if we talk about the Nepal, Bangladesh, India, the cross-border trade. I remember that I was doing a cross-border trade, research, and I went to the Benapole border. There is no toilet for women. So all these logistics actually hamper the market access. And when you are talking about the domestic market, and like especially India and Bangladesh, which is such a highly populated country, and each product will be sold because there are some customers for that product because it's such a diversified people. But at the end of the day, knowing your competitors are very important. Knowing your price is very important, which you sometimes miss out. Not knowing your competitors and how much you can do your marketing something new. My business when we started, other than artificial silk flowers, with my husband, we started selling automobiles, and we didn't have any showroom. So we used to put the bus in the play field. These boys used to play. We used to give them money so that they can buy footballs and other things. And for that, we used to put our transport there. So, but the marketing skill, we had interesting new skill. So that is important, that how much marketing knowledge we have. That's what we sometimes women entrepreneurs don't work on it, the marketing side. And the corporate, we talk about that, buying, selling to the corporate. Corporate, I have seen that corporate are very interested to do a sponsorship on a big musical conference, musical program, because lots of young boys and girls will come. If you talk about any soda, like I don't want to put any brand name, so all the fizzy drink, so they will be like to sponsor a concert because there will be so many people there. But when you tell them that a certain product, please buy from the women entrepreneur, they are actually not very interested. Let me tell you. So the corporate are corporate. They will only think about themselves. They have CSR, but CSR cannot be to promote entrepreneurs. That cannot be. So we, the women entrepreneur, we need to know our market intelligence. We need to know how I should sell my product. If I don't have the ability, I need to have someone who can be into that supply chain, or the new term you say, put them and sell them.
What you said resonated with me here. Poonam, would you like to respond to her question?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that. Absolutely no denying to what you have said today, but just to bring the perspective in place, WeConnect International's key, the backbone of our intervention is B2B. So businesses that are B2B. However, in the process, when we have made this network of over 17,000 women-owned businesses, women buy from women, right? And that is the B2C component in the system. However, when it comes to corporates, absolutely, they will not come and buy the products probably in display here. But we have tier 2 spends, which means a supplier who's already supplying to a corporate. For instance, products like this get into the gifting category. And gifting category is one where all these products are considered in sustainable solutions also. So WeConnect International tries to access the supplier diversity fund, which is separate than the CSR funds. While CSR is their social responsibility, as I also said in my presentation, supplier diversity is a strategy which their corporates are now increasingly using to make, like we have workplace diversity, where there are initiatives to include women at all spheres of the same way. It is taking the diversity component, the gender lens to the supply chains. So definitely I get the point, but the mission of this particular initiative is slightly B2B, and the network of women that gets formed, which is a part of that intervention, comes to this particular category.
Anshuman wants to.
Yeah, I also just wanted to respond, and thank you very much, because I agree with you on that some of the terms were actually very difficult for me also to understand a few years back. But I understand the audience is women entrepreneurs, budding women entrepreneurs also, some of them. But so I wanted to explain to them in very layman terms also, so not as per the definition. That's why I said farm to fork, and I explained to them. Jugaad is a North Indian term actually in India, and it's, I think, understood by everybody. So I just explained like how, where all it should be used and where all it should not be used. And I also understand yesterday somebody made a remark that this is a forum for leaders. So I understand most of you would have probably understood the things which I would have wanted to emphasize. Basically on customer delight, on the importance of timing in supply chain. So it's on very easy terms actually. But yes, I agree. Some of the terms were little difficult for many of you probably to understand. But
no, these are the smartest of
yes, so yeah.
I'm not there.
Yeah, no, and so that's why I wanted, but I see some of the terms are very difficult for me also to understand, so I can't explain. So, but yes, the importance of supply chain is what I wanted to emphasize in my presentation.
Please, may I? To Anshuman.
Yes.
Actually, you said there should be a quality control Otherwise,
Actually, Anshuman was insisting on the quality control. He said when you buy, as a buyer, you go and find out the quality of the thing and find it perfect on your terms, so you buy it. But my question is, most of the buying, especially in our community here, actually in the urban areas now, are through online. So you pay online, you do whatever conditions you have to fulfill, but when the product comes, you find whatever you wanted to get, you do not get that. It's much lesser in quality and sometimes it's a trash. So what to be done about that? What do you see regarding that supply which is coming mostly nowadays through online? Please, can you explain that? What could be done about that? And what legal steps could we really take or go forward to take to stop that? Please.
Yeah, thank you. But actually, my presentation was not about that the quality is coming bad, or I understand your question. If you are buying online, most of the times we probably are getting not the right kind of quality product, or probably sometimes the product is also different. So I think this way, that particular company or the online company is only losing its customers. And customers are also very smart these days, so they can also distinguish which portal is giving them the right kind of thing. So I think one of the things which I emphasized was also on how we are portraying our products or services, the kind of packaging that we are doing. Maybe we can, if a company is doing like this, they can fool their customers once, but their customers won't come back again. They won't have a repeat customer. So if the manufacturer or the company which is providing services is emphasizing on its services, it's promising whatever it is promising, and it is delivering on its promises, on the timings, on the packaging, on the product. I think those are the companies which will probably be there in the market for the long run. The others will just perish.
I know. How about the legal steps?
remedies,
How about the legal steps?
Yeah, so I'm not an expert on that part, what kind of legal remedies, but I think the only thing which I would know is the Consumer Redressal Authority. That is the only.
There is a consumer grievance redressal forum, and you can always complain to them.
Yes.
So that is the legal action.
I think, and they are very effective also.
And they are very
effective and they work. So.
Thank you.
So I'll come back to you. So I'll now go to Neeru. Neeru, in your presentations yesterday, you highlighted the problem of the terrain of Nepal and how FWIN is reaching out to women entrepreneurs and helping you out. So other than the problem of geographical barrier, which is definitely a key problem in supply chain, what are other challenges and how, as a network, you are supporting?
Thank you, Ananya. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, good. I just share you one case, one incident what happened a few years back actually. One of our women entrepreneurs from our association, she participated, actually two of them. They participated in a big trade fair in China. And they had a lot of homemade textiles, handmade textiles and things like that. So the trade fair was facilitated by our organization in collaboration with our government team. So when these ladies went there, they had an inquiry or an order for this. They had displayed pashminas, and we have a special natural fabric. It's called aloe. It's a natural fabric. I'm sure you have it in India too, natural. So they had taken some products in the stores and things like that. And this guy comes from, a visitor comes, and then he's a businessman, and said, "Can you, put an order for some 100 tons or something like that in China?" So they were kind of almost, fainted because they were not really prepared for such a big order. So this is actually what happens, So how do we balance? How we always talk about strengthening access to finance. To market. So there are so many issues and so many things to address. Because we say we are, like as Selima said, we are so much in love with our product, and we said, oh wow, and then we take it, but then we get a different kind of reaction. So how do we kind of, balance, and how do we kind of prepare, for those kind of things? So what I want to share is we need to really do the capacity building. That's what I feel from our experience. Capacity building in skill, actually. So most of the women entrepreneurs, because they are home-based and they are in the cottage industry, MSMEs, they're into textiles, So we provide them from time to time, our organization and other stakeholders, in textiles and hand weaving, the jewelry making, these kind of things, so that they know they have a basic skill, but they need to really kind of upgrade and upscale and do the finishing which we're talking about, the greater quality which they want to export and reach to the right market. So I feel that capacity building and skill, management, skill training is very, very important, and also product development. They have to diversify. They have to be innovative. There's this case during, especially in the pandemic, when there's lockdown and all the shops were closed and people were not being able to sell their product. So this group of women, they came up with very innovative ideas. They were in food business. They were making pickles and jam. What they did was they came up with frozen food. They said, now, momos, we have a very famous product, food, momo. So they came with frozen food, so they could be, used for after sometimes. So they came with that's an innovation. And people were in boutique and garments and things like that. They came up with designers, masks and things like that. So they were very innovative to tackle the market and to go forward. So innovation and diverse products, those kind of creative ideas is very, very important to strengthen access to market. And also now at the moment, the age about the digitalization and things like that. So if you cannot be a digital entrepreneur, then you will be left far behind. So digital financing, digital market is a must. You have to really, and then we are not born with this skill. So we need to train and learn and educate ourselves. And besides capacity building, I would say the market linkages. So how do we go about it? And your question was how do we link, our grassroots women entrepreneurs to the international market and in the supply chain. So we have various activities. One is online market web portal we've designed, and we've launched this a long time ago, actually, even before the pandemic, I would say. It's called WinBiz. So we have, this is more like a cataloging rather than online marketing, because the main objective is to bring the women's product in one platform, in an online digital platform, so people can see and order. We don't really sell it through online. They can see the women's product when they're so interested, because so many people come where they have a very special interest to support women entrepreneurs, staff, handicraft. So they go to our website and they like the web portal, which is for WinBase. There it's connected, and they come to see, and they directly kind of contact those leads. So that is very, very effective at the moment. And we are trying to now link this portal, our portal, with other commercial online sales also. So that's the women entrepreneurs are directly linked, So that's a very good way of strengthening access to market at the moment. And so we have a sister organization, a cooperative, Win Cooperative, which has been there for more than 25 years. And they have a retail outlet, and they have very good linkages to all the supermarkets in Kathmandu and all over Nepal. So products like the pickles, the jams, other snack items, food products, they are selling very well. So that is one linkage. And other kind of things like farmers market is very, very popular in Nepal. I don't know how it's in Delhi. So in this farmers market, it happens once a week or once a month in different places where all the expat and all the tourists come. So this is a very effective way of marketing. It's not only from business to consumer, it makes a very good relationship for the long run also. So that's there. And also even marketing in the sense that we have many, because Kathmandu is a very a popular place for organizing and having a big events, international conferences, symposiums, things like that. So in these event marketing, what FWIN does is we try to put our stall You know, we make arrangements, we plan with the host. So we have women product at the end of the, like what we are doing it here, something like that, but more elaborate. So we have women entrepreneurs product there. So this is a very effective way of not only selling there, they can have a very good linkages. So during the symposium, and another one is the festival, like for a Christmas bazaar, you know. So that is so interesting and very, very helpful for women entrepreneurs to reach their market, locally and also in the international market. And another one is corporate marketing. We were like talking here before that corporate, they have their own agendas and their own, you know, do's and don'ts. But EFRIN has been successful in building and establishing a network with 3 main giant, I should say, corporates. One is Nebel Bank. What they do is we have an MOU now. So what they do is in any kind of events, they send the corporate gifts to the client. So now because we've joined hands with partner, now they're taking women's product to gift to their clients. So that's a way of really promoting the product. And once in a while, they even invite in their premises to hold the small bazaar kind of thing. You know, that's there. And one is the NCEL, it's a telecommunication thing, and one is high frequency. So they have various events. So that's how we kind of linkages with the corporates to sell our products to our members. And the physical marketing is there. We have a own shop in our office premise now. And EFRIN has already been lobbying the government to provide a space for the craft village at national level, which we will be hoping to happen soon. You know, at national level, a craft village, or something like Didi Hat, you know, we are trying that. And one I should not miss about is the International Women Trade Expo, which is a flagship program and happens every year, annual. In this International Women Trade Expo, we try to invite all the international exhibitors and visitors and have all our stakeholders, community to participate. And in this International Women Trade Expo, we link even the rural, in the mountain, the lady will be able to come and showcase a product. It's very challenging in terms of coming, because in traveling, in some places they don't even have a route, the route, she has to fly and come. So these ladies come and participate, and it's such a big, experience, a rich experience for them. They might not be having such a wow product, but she's able to see her, the fellows exhibiting and learning, even the setting up, the branding, how you use packages, how it's labeled. And we've seen the growth of this lady actually. Over the past few years, the lady was, participate for the first and her product, and if you see her product now, there's a huge difference. So that's how we educate them. And also about the policy level, because policy also plays a very, very important role. We've been very much working very, very closely with the government to bring a good policy for women entrepreneurs for access to market. So with this, I will.
Thank you. There's lots of learning from what you said. Indeed, COVID taught us a lot of things, and I think all of you highlighted some of those, like importance of innovation and importance of digital access. As I shared yesterday, we are working with more than 16,000 artists and craftspeople. And in India, there was an initiative, I'd like to mention here the importance of networks. It is called Creative Dignity. So all organizations working on crafts, we came together and we partnered with all the online retailers like iTokri, GoCo. So normally, products come to a place and then, there is a warehouse, and from where they get shipped, the way Amazon, Flipkart, they all work. But during the COVID, they all came together, and these companies, they actually took the product from the house of the home entrepreneur. And this resulted in a jumping of the digital divide. So it was not that before COVID, they all were experts, but they all learned, and it really helped in resilience. So I think we really learned the hard way during COVID how networking and digital access can bridge that terrible time when market access was totally disrupted. So we have entrepreneurs here, and I'd like to request you to raise your hand just to say how many of you have digital presence? So good. So we have the younger generations they are already there. And we have here many chambers and networks, and I'm sure you are all doing programs as F1 mentioned. And yesterday Arena shared about our platform we are creating, Women for Economy. So please share the dates of your programs and events so that in the network, whoever is there, and we keep on promoting in social media, and you'll be, so that everyone comes to know about these programs. And I'll tell all the speakers and also the entrepreneurs, you know, we have been really overwhelmed with the stories you are sharing, and we'll reach out to you. And we'll like to share these in blogs, social media, because we all need to get these information right from how the manufacturing world is transitioning to all in a systematic way. So we request your support. Now, is there any other question from the floor for the speakers? Yeah, sorry.
This is mainly directed to the entire panel, and with reference to Chitralekha's point that there's been a lack of market access for rural artisans and people working in the grassroots level, especially for handicrafts and things like these. We also have an example of an entrepreneur sitting right here who wanted to be listed on Myntra for her jewelry products, but she's got a waiting time of 2 years, which is definitely not possible. So can platforms like ONDC, which are unified platforms launched by the Government of India, or even the e-portal that we talked about in Nepal, can these platforms give them a direct market access?
I can try. Whatever, I think you can hear me. So for me, I have found solace in, as I mentioned, BanglaNatok.com, because they have their own presence and they're bringing all these people together. And as you talked about, getting a fellow entrepreneur, you know, kind of extending your hand of support to another entrepreneur who's probably not as digitally savvy, or you know, who don't have access to these things. So I think that is exactly the kind of platform we need to have more or bigger, because they are actually traveling to the villages, because for you, they have to register with you. You're not going out looking for them. Whereas this organization is actually proactively going out and looking for them. So if we have more such, I think, people around and such organizations around, that's the only way I can see.
Also, as a network, I think this could be one of the agendas in which we can do the advocacy. You know, reach out to the government platforms and other platforms, like, you know, you can't have a 2-year waiting time. You know, things change.
But I just, we are also looking.
Oh, fantastic.
We are really looking, because there are so many women-owned businesses, and many of them I met today who are not on the portal, who are being excluded. And a live example is sitting right here. She's into an industry which every corporate, you know. So also, I just want to add one small thing: know your customer. You know, if for example, if a product like that which is on display today, if the women entrepreneur can innovate, make it into a B2B package or a product, it can cater to. So it's like integrating, you know, ahead into your chain. We can have a long discussion. But
For that, awareness is needed.
Absolutely.
And for awareness, education is needed.
You're
So the basic thing is education. Educate women, everything will go fine.
Yes,
I don't know if this works, but I'll just be loud. So I just, one of the questions that I have is
the mic gets recorded.
that it won't turn on. Okay, it turns on for him. Works for now. Sorry. So one of my questions, or I guess more so a few comments. I ran a business in the States for several years, and moving to India in December, and we're here for 2 years now. So it's been quite a difference in watching small businesses grow here. But one of the things that I have noticed is there's this need for direct access to the market, but then websites are not actually equipped for search engine optimization at all. So if I'm trying to search for something, it is impossible to find something very basic here locally, because there's so many vendors who do it, but Their websites aren't equipped where it says, I sell beauty products and this is what I'm selling, and it's, Ayurvedic and whatnot. And I think that with a lot of the entrepreneurs here, the focus needs to come on the digital products, right? On the digital market space. Because people in the West are looking to buy that. And if we're trying to get to on a global scale, you have to accommodate someone being able to search for you online, because they're not coming to your towns. They're not flying across the country or world for this. So just focus on that. But then the other thing too is there's a lot of talk, and I apologize I missed yesterday, but if this was talked about yesterday, is there's a lot of conversation around finance and how do I get more money to grow my business because I want to scale my business. But I think the problem too that I've noticed with a lot of female entrepreneurs is that they've created a really good product and a really great service, but they don't understand the finances behind their actual business today. So if you try to talk to them about what your profit margin is for your product, they will not have an answer for you. What is your profitability for the entire year? They will not have an answer for you because they just don't know it. They know that they've created a product and they sell it, but how much are they making off of each product, they don't know. So before we start talking about scaling your business and getting all the money you need, we need to start focusing just on the really bare foundations of how much money are you actually making on this product? Is it scalable? And if you do get a very large order, what do you do then? And can you actually fulfill that? Because you can't go chasing after it if you're not profitable today. So that's all.
There were a lot of talk on that yesterday.
Yeah.
It got covered to some extent. Yes, right.
I want to add a small bit coming from our IT background. We have a lot of women entrepreneurs working in diverse fields. What I feel is we need to be a little more tech savvy and get into digital marketing to be visible through the globe. Actually, we do believe in word of mouth. Yeah, that's very effective. We do believe in putting up hoardings and all this, and this kind of platforms. That's okay. But having a digital marketing and strategy, particularly what she mentioned very aptly, SEO, search engine optimization. That's absolutely mandatory for scaling up, going into marketing. So go-to-market strategy must include digital marketing and SEO, search engine optimization. Thank you.
I just wanted to say that digital marketing is not reasonable. It's expensive, and particularly for a small-time entrepreneur.
This kind of forum can extend.
Facebook is not very expensive. So Facebook, you can obviously use Facebook and to promote, and from there is your network, and you can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been in digital marketing for maybe 2 years, but I don't see any scope. Until unless you spend money, you'll get the results.
This conversation over last Darshana and Preeta.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share about a portal that I have just launched. It's called merabiznet.in. It's also available as an app from Google Play Store, and this may resonate with a lot of us because this provides for any a small mid-level entrepreneur, including a grassroots entrepreneur, which means you can help them come onto that portal. If you have just a mobile phone, you don't need an email ID or whatever, to help you with access to finance, get you mentored for anything, from understanding pricing, whatever, to I don't know, how to market my product, to I'm very confused, you get a mentor support. From a generalized mentor to specialized mentors, you get access to tools and training, and the whole idea behind is collaborations. It's not as if we have all the answers or we have all the training material or know every aspect of all kinds of business. And so we are partnering. So content there's enough open source free content available, which is aggregated there. But we will also do training programs, etc., that are more both online as well as offline. It's available in English and Hindi right now, and then open it up to other languages. And then what we find most important is this marketing support, also support for other kinds of, like, most women businesses don't know, like, the conversation around what documentation is required, what registration, whether it is India, whether it is anywhere, how to get a trade license, how to get a GST, how to get an Aadhaar card, how to get a PAN card. So we have tie-ups and, with all of that. And the idea is to collaborate. So all women's associations here and platforms here can also come onto that. There's no charge, for it. Over time, then we will see. So right now, I'd like to talk about that.
May I have the name, please?
Merabiznet.in.
Doing very good businesses, and suddenly there was unprecedented, this COVID came, and suddenly their businesses were disrupted, and more than 80% they were not able to supply their products to their buyers because their supply chain was disrupted. So that was a big question there, and what we did was we started planning for business continuity plan for them. So how would you say, or how would you take this without, how important is business continuity plan in terms of strategizing the supply chain and growth, sustainability. So this, we found this is very, very important, because if they had business continuity plan ready within their business and within the supply chain, they wouldn't have gone through all those traumas and didn't have time to, just stay like for 2 years like that. So I would like to know from you two how you're planning, or what is your idea about business continuity plan within the supply chain?